Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. Thank you for coming today and joining us. Today, I have a recording artist, a singer, songwriter. It's a privilege to bring to Morning Moments Jimmy Reno. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Love the name, Jimmy Reno.
Thank you. Know, a lot of people ask me if that's a stage name, but it's actually my real name.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
had to go on stage with a name like that, right?
yeah. That's it. That's my real name.
Good. Well, let me ask you, Jimmy, the question I ask everybody: what do you do, and why do you do it?
Well, I'm a Christian country recording artist, and I do what I do for the simple reason that for me, it's always been a calling. I've always felt it was my calling. I started singing when I was 4 years old in church. My dad would stand me in a chair so that I could reach the microphone. He would play his guitar, and I would sing. And I've been doing it since then. I don't remember a life without music or without singing Christian music in it. So it's always been my calling. That's where my heart is at, is sharing um, Christ through the lyrics of the songs that He gives me to write.
Now, you said you've been in church for
Hmm.
all your life. You've been around church,
Right.
and that's just where you. Is that where you just found the Lord? Is at that early age?
It is. I'm really the. I've always been in church. Around the age of 9 or 10, in that range, I really prayed and became aware of asking Christ to be my Lord and my Savior, and inviting Him into my heart. So that was probably between ages of 9 and 10. Um, I have no memories that don't include being in church, though. From my earliest memories. So, um, my parents raised us in it. My dad was very musical, and he really instilled in me that love for music, and he always used his talents for the Lord. Uh, he had opportunities to go outside of that, but he chose not to. And he instilled in me the importance of doing that, of offering up the talents that God gives us, back to Him. And that's what I've tried to do.
You do a solo work now. You work
Yes,
was with some groups as well, right?
I have. I've been with several groups over the years. I was with the Florida Boys Quartet, where the group finally retired in 2016.
Wow.
Um, I was with a group called Mystery Men Quartet that some Southern gospel fans might recognize, as well, and they'll probably be familiar with the Florida Boys. Most recently, I was with a country gospel group called Mark 209. I was with them off and on for the last 8, 9 years. And then I had tried my hand at songwriting in the past. I never felt like they were particularly um, great. It was not material that I felt like that I could really do much with. I didn't have a lot of confidence in the songs that I had written previously, so I stopped trying to do that for a while. The Lord started giving me lyrics though a few years ago, and I would wake up and either have melody, lyrics, or both in my head. So I started writing them down. I wasn't sure at the time what exactly I was going to do with those, whether it was try to get the group that I was with to sing them, or maybe pitch those to other artists, that record. And it was kind of an organic thing. The Lord just kept leading me into the direction of the writing, and then the singing. Then I knew that I had to record them, and um, He ultimately pushed me in the direction of going solo, which was never an aspiration of mine. I've always loved being in groups. I love harmony, so I never really considered being a solo artist. But one of the things I found over the last 54 years of living is that sometimes God will call us in areas that are outside our comfort zone. Kind of like with Moses and with Aaron. God did that, and Moses didn't want to. He didn't want to have to be a speaker, and so when you sing with a group, we always had a guy that would be the front man that would do all the talking, and all I had to do was show up and sing. So that was a very comfortable position, and now I'm having to do everything. So God kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone a little, but He tends to do that with us at times.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of quartet people that did other things. It says I was used to just walking on stage and somebody
Yeah.
just handed me a microphone
Hmm.
and then I'd hand it back, and then when they went on their own, then they had to
Yes.
the bookings and the
It's a whole different world.
setting up and
Yeah,
and everything. So it's a
yeah. It's given me a better appreciation for what the people that operated the groups that I was in, the ones that was in charge and had to take care of all the things outside of stage performance. I have a new appreciation and understanding for what their role was. I never really didn't really think much about it, because like I said, I just showed up and I sang. It's just a whole other world when you have to do all of it.
I like what you said when you were talking about songwriting. You were trying to make it and do it,
I
and
did it too.
when you surrendered, it just naturally came. Isn't that the
It
way
did.
our Christian walk is? Is that
It absolutely.
when we say, God, I'm
Yeah.
all in, I surrender to you. He says, now, well, I got you where I need you.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
share
I
some
did.
things.
I tried it on my own for years.
Yeah.
Nothing just ever. It just was never anything that was really very good. And I finally decided, well, I can't do this. I prayed and I said, Lord, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to give me the lyrics and give me, the melody. And because what I'm producing on my own this is just not good enough to do anything with. And then I kind of put it to the side for a while. And, lo and behold, I woke up one morning at 2 a.m. and I had a song that's on this is my debut solo album. One of the songs on there is called Breaking Free. And I had the words to that chorus and the tune was just in my head and I couldn't get it out. And it woke me up about 2 a.m. And so I started writing it down. And from there, that's where things kind of really started going. Songs just kept coming to me. And
Yeah.
I think it was God's way of showing me it's not something, that I could do without him, but, he can do that through me. So
You have a song currently on some of the charts now about a cowboy. Can you tell me about that one?
it is. I love westerns. Grew up loving westerns. I used to watch Bonanza reruns with my dad and my granddad. I still love that show. Still watch it now. Matter of fact, and so I had that love of westerns, and I watched one, and I can't remember the exact movie that it was, but in the movie, there's a character that I believe was a Sam Elliott character who was talking about, of all the things that they could have been in this world, that they were a cowboy and they loved being that and they appreciated being that. And I started thinking God calls all of us into different vocations and different ministries. He gives us all different gifts. And so I started thinking about, being thankful for who we are and being thankful for what God has given us and what God has gifted us with and operating, within those parameters. And that's kind of where that song came from. Um, as a kid, that's all I ever wanted to be was a cowboy. I loved cowboys, cowboy hats, westerns. That's what I wanted to be. So I kind of took that theme and made a song about being thankful for who we are. Within the song, the lyrics talk about the fact that I'm born here in America, the greatest country on earth, in my opinion. And I'm thankful for our freedoms, and I'm thankful for who I am. And the song talks about being thankful for God saving my soul, the salvation and the grace that He's given me. So it's really just a song about thanks.
Yeah. When I've often heard people say you're lost, you don't know what you're doing until you know the why you're doing it, and
Yes.
it's so
Yeah.
important to find out the whys. And when you say it's not about me, it's about you, Lord, it just God just comes through and He speaks to us when we listen.
Yeah. I was talking to John Schneider, actor, musician, and he told me that he believed that God puts all of us here for a specific reason. And our purpose in life is to discover what that reason is, and then, to operate and to do what it is that God put us here to do, which I think is a perfect way to explain that. I believe with all my heart God placed me here for the intention of music and the music ministry, and so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be faithful to that calling.
There are some of you out there listening to this going, I'm seeking my purpose. I'm trying to figure out what God has for me. One of the first places I tell people to start is find out what your passion is. Quite
Yes.
often, your purpose is somewhere within your passion. As my
Yes.
brother has said, he had the passion for singing from an early
Hmm.
age 4, and that passion showed to be his purpose. It's not his only purpose in life, but it's one of those things that God has called him to do.
Hmm.
Seek God. God knows your heart. It's up to us to hear His voice, folks.
Yes.
Seek God to find out what God has for you. I want you to follow, if you would please, Jimmy Reno. Look at his website, check out his songs, listen to the songs about thank you Lord for making me a cowboy, and listen to other things he's doing. And as we leave this interview today, I want you to stop and take the time to pray for Jimmy Reno. Folks,
Yes.
Jimmy desperately needs your prayers and you need to practice. So pray that God would bless him in a great and mighty way. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining me for Morning Moments.
Thank you for having me. It's really been a pleasure to be here and talk with you.
All right. Thank you for joining us for Morning Moments. And if you would, keep coming back and may God richly bless you.